Okay guys, Mr. O's back, and today's Mr. O Math Vid, we're going to look about answering word problems, specific just linear equation word problems, and let's get to it. So first things first, we need to always figure out what on earth is the thing we're looking for. And when we read this contextual problem talking about Friendship's soccer team, talking about a bill of $912, equipment costing $612, uniforms are $25 each. How much is, or how many uniforms did we buy? So right there in the question, they've told us what they're looking for. So we're trying to find how many uniforms, and let's just use U. I like using variables that have some kind of meaning to them. So we're going to use uniforms U. Now, constants. Constants are numbers that are fixed. So if you have any kind of initial cost, fixed cost, or any initial values, starting values, that would be the way to go. And in this case, we have that the equipment costs $612. So to start off, we for sure have $612. But there's another constant in here, and it's this $912 total. So we also have to keep that one in mind. Now, rates. Big keywords on rates. If you see words like per or for each or things along those lines, now you're talking about rates because you're charging each time something is bought or something's happening each time. So in this case, our rate for each is going to be that $25 per uniform or for each uniform. So let's start with the equation. Different ways to do this, and there's no wrong way in any of the ones I'm about to describe. Some people like to start off with the total bill, boom, and then what added up to it. If that's what you want to do, and I'll demonstrate it, that's fine. Or if you want to start off by building up to the total, that's fine too. And then some people like to do the rate before the initial value, others flip it, all kinds of things going on. So I'm going to show at least a couple of them. So the one that I'm going to demonstrate first is when we have a bill, we have the total, 912, and then we build after that. So the total 912 equals our initial cost, our constant 612, plus our rate 25, and the rate always is multiplied to our variable. So you can do that one, or you could have done the opposite. You could have done 612 as an initial cost plus 25 times U equals 912. Either way is acceptable. You'll still get the right answer so long as you have the right setup. So don't fret about that too much. Just make sure you have things in the proper places. So let's go about solving this. So can I simplify? Nope. Is there a variable on both sides? Nope. And then finally, we've got inverse operations. 25u, I want to leave that alone for right now. So how do I isolate it and get rid of this 612? Well, since it's a positive 612, we subtract 612 and zero that out. So after we zero out the 612, we also have to subtract it on the opposite side of the equation because we have to maintain that property of equality and that balance. So we end up with 300 equals 25U. So no longer any addition or subtraction. So now I see that there is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide by 25. And we find out that U equals 12. Now right here, the question that we need to ask ourselves is, have we answered the question? And a lot of times people will say, well, yeah, sure, you've answered the question. But realistically, we haven't, because if the problem is given to us in context using sentences and words, then we have to give an answer that uses words as well, is at least a little hint that I like to give my students. So we need to answer with a sentence. So friendship soccer team or friendship school purchased, actually we need to change that, friendships soccer team purchased 12 uniforms. So always make sure to go back and give your answer in context as it relates to that. All right, for this last problem we're going to look at with regards to context. So we've got container A and B have leaks. Container A starts off as 800 milliliters and is leaking at 6 milliliters per minute. So let's pause and let's just figure out right there things that we have. First off, we're starting with an amount. That's an initial amount, 800 milliliters. That sounds like a constant to me. So we're starting off with 800, and then we hear that it's leaking at 6 milliliters per minute. So right there on the rate, we've got this 6, but notice since it's leaking, our water level's decreasing, so we're really changing at a rate of -6. Go back to the context. Container B is 1,000 milliliters. So now we have another constant because we have another starting value of 1,000. Whoops. And it's leaking at 10 milliliters per minute. So we now have another rate. So -10. Oops, -10. And the question says how many minutes? So big surprise. Our variable is going to be minutes, and I'm going to abbreviate that minutes and use the variable m. So let's go with the equation. We're going to have 800 minus 6m equals 1,000 minus 10m. And now we just solve the equation. We work our way through it. So can we simplify? Nope. Variable on both sides? Yes, there is. And if we want to eliminate the smallest one, well, that's actually this -10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides to zero those out. So we're left with 800 plus 4m equals 1,000. And now we're going to subtract 800 on both sides. And wind up with 4m equals 200, and finally divide by 4 on both sides and get an answer of m equals 50. So now we have to answer the question, which is how many minutes will it take? Well, we just saw it